Hi everybody, this is Dee. I'm going to show you how to make a dream catcher. And there's all different hoops that you can use, but most times I use embroidery hoops. You can use hula hoops. You can use, just wooden circles that you can buy at the store. They come in various sizes. You can make gigantic ones all the way down to little tiny ones. But this is sinew. And this is what I weave the dream catcher with. So what I'm going to make a traditional dream catcher, and then I'm also going to make a boho one, so you can see. I'm going to make a couple different types. I always start with the inner circle because it doesn't have this, but you can use this as well. Just keep this at the bottom, and then you can cover it with something that you hang, which I'll do that as well. And this is the old school type, you just tighten it down as far as you can get it so that the circle is like that, and you can use that. Okay, so I'm using the inner ones. All right, so this is sinew. You can also use waxed thread, or you can crochet a chain and use that. There's a lot of different ways you can do these. But anyways, how I start. Okay, tie the sinew. Double knot it real tight. And all your ends and things like that, you're going to want to keep to the bottom. Okay, so I go under and over and move it where I want it and through the loop. Okay, so you got it there. Over and under, through the loop. And you do this all the way around. I just kind of eyeball it on how big I want it. You can make it a little bigger on the outside and then smaller on the inside. I just kind of judge it like this. Okay, so you go all the way around it. And once you've done that, I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, I'm down to my last one. Here's our knot where we started. And I just do the same thing there. Okay, next row. You're going to go through. I don't know if I can do it with this, so I'm going to take it off this. I'll be back in a second. I don't think you want to watch me do this. Okay, I took it off the thing because it's not going to fit. So you go through here and you do pretty much the same thing you did. But you go into the center, make your knot be in the center of the one before. Okay? So you can kind of adjust it as you go. The story I've been told about the dream catcher is that it catches all your bad dreams and negative energies at nighttime. And then when the day comes and the sun comes out, all the bad dreams that are caught in the web are burned away, and all the negative energy as well. So that's what the dream catcher is about. Let me go through that one. Okay. Like I said, dream catchers, the web is never perfect. You just kind of go with the flow. Just kind of eyeball it and see, oh, that looks good, that looks good. I've never been a perfectionist when it comes to dream catchers because I think that's the whole point of it, being something that you created for yourself. My grandkids swear by them. When they were little and had bad dreams, I would make them a dream catcher, and they would hang it in their window so the sun could burn away the bad dreams, and they were absolutely convinced that it worked. And so the tradition lives on. Now they're all grown and they're in their 20s and they have dream catchers in their houses. So they believe the power of the dream catcher. Gotta make sure you go through that loop because that's what kind of secures it, you know. My loop around here. A little too long. And you just keep going around. I've been making traditional dream catchers for probably about 30 years. There's all different ways you can do this webbing, but this is the easiest and most traditional way. You can make it look like spider webs or, you know, whatever you want to do. But this is the traditional way. I've taken my dream catchers to powwows and whatever. And you use all different kinds of things to decorate it. You know, whatever other kind of craft you're into, that's what you can decorate it with. You can decorate it with yarn. You can decorate it with ribbon, beads, multitude of things, feathers, just all kinds of things you can decorate your dream catcher with. It's kind of funny. I started making dream catchers. I guess I was in my late 20s, early 30s, so it's been, you know, 30, 35 years, I guess. And I always put, you know, the pelts or, what have I got going on here? There we go. The pelts or the feathers of things I've collected, or bones, or I've put deer jaws on them, and you name it. That's why I always say I have a collection of bones and fur and all that, and I do. As a matter of fact, on this dream catcher, this is bobcat fur. I'm going to add some of that. I also have a fox. And I'm thinking about maybe putting the fox on my dream catcher. But we'll see as we go. And I got porcupine quills and, you know, all different things like that I use on my dream catchers. But on the boho one, I have yarn and I have beaded trim, and you just keep going just like this. This is our third row. But you can use beaded trim and just anything felt. You can use, like I said, yarn and many of my boho ones. I have some, yeah, that's okay. Is that all right? Yeah. As you can see, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. You know, once you get it going, you can adjust it as you go. This one's a little big, so we can do this. But you keep going around and around and around till you get to the center. I don't know if my head keeps hitting that or not. Okay, some suggestions. This kind of beaded trim, wouldn't that be pretty around it? For the boho ones, you can use, like I got a bunch of this darn good ribbon. That would be super cute on it, you know. You could use, I brought some of my yarn scraps. Oops, no baby, no. My dog gonna get it. Yarn scraps that I have. You can use that. Fringe. All the different, you know, little fringes and trims and all that kind of stuff. You can use sequins. You can use old jewelry. Like, oh, this got hung up. Okay. This is an earring with a llama on it. I think I might use that on my boho one. There's also, you know, the fringe trim. I always get this stuff in the clearance. This I got at the Dollar Tree. It had a hook to hang on the door. See? I'm going to use this probably on my boho one. Pretty neat. It's at the dollar store. Here's a use for my darn good yarn. And then you can put a ring on the top to hold it. And you can use a wood ring. You can use a keychain. You can use a metal ring. You can use an old bracelet. This is covered in leather. I thought that might be nice for my traditional one. But you can use those as a hanger. You also can hang crystals from it, or you can use jute, or you know, there's so many things that you could do with this that it becomes a very creative process. And I think I think you guys will enjoy making one. But you always got to start out with your web. On the boho one, I'm going to wrap this. Just wrap. I haven't decided what I'm going to wrap it with, but I'm going to wrap it. Also put leather, which I probably will do on this one. Beads, wood beads, glass beads, it doesn't matter. Crystals, that's another good one. Semi-precious stones, you could use, you know, all kinds of things to dress it up. But you first got to do your web. And see how that's coming? And then the next row will be there. And see, this one's really big, so let's see if we can get that one smaller by making these ones larger. Just kind of play with it. Just it's not meant to be perfect, and it hooks on your ring. But it's not meant to be perfect, and I'm going to just keep going around doing the same thing. Okay, so I go into, I'm going to reiterate. You go into the next hoop. You take your sinew through it, or your wax thread, or your yarn, or whatever you're using, and just double around. And that's what you do all the way around until you get to the center. Through it, and through the hoop. Okay? You do this all the way around. And you might have some small ones there. So make sure you don't forget those. See how they tighten up? Don't forget those. And you're making your web. You see? I'm doing a very, just going to throw it together web. You can get real particular about it and do measure and all that kind of stuff. But that's not what I do. I just make it how I make it. Okay, so this is what I do all the way around. Just go through my hoop I made. And I can do my adjustments after. Just make sure you get every hoop. Go through your hoop. Make a new hoop. Oh. And go through your hoop. Okay? You do that all the way around until it's full. Okay, I'm going to do that on both of these hoops and go to the center, and I'll show you at the center. But I'm going to wrap this, and I'll show you that in a moment. And I'm going to get done with the webbing on the inside of this one and this one. I'll be back. Here's some of the things that you can use. I just dug through a bunch of stuff. Like these are ceramic beads. Those are from my macrame days. Here's some crocheted beads. You can use those. Or the different size wood beads. Here's some more ceramic. All of this stuff over here is old broken jewelry. Isn't this pretty? That could be used. It used to be some kind of necklace, I'm thinking, like this. That could be used on the dream catcher. That's part of it. These are semi-precious stones. They look to be like agate and some others. Here's some shells. A moon that came off of something. This was something I made years ago. I'm probably going to use those beads there. Let's see. Here's an old earring. That's pretty cool. You know, I have all kinds of stuff like vintage jewelry that I've saved or whatever. You can use all that jewelry. Here's some shells that you could use. Here's some wooden things that you can get like at Michael's or whatever. Semi-precious stone there. Here's this little lady, which I think is really, really cute. I might put her on there on the boho one. Here's some more shells. Oh, hold on 1 second. My phone's ringing. That was Tutu calling me because she wanted a peanut butter sandwich. So, what do you do? Anyway, here's a darn good ribbon I showed you earlier. Darn good yarn. There's some yarn scraps. Some yarn. I'll show you different ways to use these things. These are sandalwood beads, and they smell real good. These are African market beads, which I think are pretty cool. Here's some crystal beads. Here's some turquoise and some jade. These are moonstone and opal. These are Indian agate. Here's some obsidian butterflies. And I'm not sure what kind of stone that is, but it's pretty. And here's some bone. These are made out of bone. So you can use all these different things, sequins, all this stuff. And here's a bunch of bone beads that I have. Here's a bunch of onyx, or I'm sorry, moonstone, and this is rose quartz. And then I have it set up over here. I'll show you real quick. I'm going to do a rainbow effect on the boho one. So here's red, here's orange, here's the yellow, here's green, there's two of those, here's blue, and here's purple. Okay, so I'm going to do a rainbow effect on my boho one. And I think that'd be kind of cool. Use some semi-precious stones, and I think that'll be neat. Okay, so that's pretty much how I go about picking things. I just grab some stuff out of my old jewelry stuff I made in the past that I took apart, old earrings, the ceramic beads, wood beads, shells, wooden stuff, sequins, little doodads, you know, you could do gnomes or whatever. Here's some more wood beads, here's some more of the rose quartz, bone, you know, all the different things. You can use all of this stuff to make a boho dream catcher. Also some leather. Here's some different colored blues. I've got some, I showed you earlier, the bobcat. I have a fox, and I also have some horsetail that I'll be incorporating in my traditional one. Okay, so, you know, sky's the limit. Use your imagination. You can use sequins and you know, these dots, I forget what they're called. Anyways, you can use anything that you have in your craft room or your craft area. Just figure out something, grab some old jewelry or something that broke, and you can use that on your dream catcher. Okay? I just wanted to show you all the different things, of different ways you can go about it. There's so many different things you can do that, like I said, sky's the limit. Okay, I'll be back.
Well, only one.
Okay, so I got this one done. Not perfect. I don't care. I don't know if you guys can see. But I went around like 3 or 4 times, and then I started skipping every other one to get it smaller and smaller and smaller and into the center. Okay, and then you pull really hard, and it'll make this webbing. Okay, now this one is going to be the boho one, and this one's not as strong. I'm going to use this thread. I probably got this in Marketplace or something. I don't even know where I got it from. But I'm going to use this thread to give it color. But first, I want to wrap this. So I'm going to decide on what to do. I think I'm going to use this ribbon. This stuff is pretty cool. See it? And this is going to be our boho one. And isn't it neat? So what I'll do is I'll just tie this around, which makes wherever that is the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap this around. Let's get this out of here. Pretty neat stuff. You see how it has a braid and then it has a piece of sari silk. It's pretty cool. Just going to wrap all this end part. And I think that's it. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep wrapping. I'm going to wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap. Okay. until I've covered the whole thing. Now you can do this with ribbon, you can do it with yarn, you can do it with what I'm using, this darn good yarn stuff, and we're just going to go around the whole thing. That's how we're going to start this one, and then we'll do the webbing on it. Okay, so I'm going to do this part, and then I'll be back. Okay, now I've got this all wrapped up. I tied it in a knot. This is going to be the bottom because there's going to be things there. I got a little extra. I'll throw that in the things that hang down. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing as we did before. But this time I'm going to skip every other one all the way around. Just to make it not maybe quite so intricate as this one. It doesn't have to be perfect. See, that's the thing about these. You know, there's different ways to do them, but this doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. What am I doing here? There's another piece from something. Okay. Alright, let's set that over there. Line this up so I can go through the holes. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing as I did before, but I'm going to make them bigger. And you just take your thread, go like this all the way around. Okay. I like that ribbon. It looks really cool. Making a mess here. Okay. Alright. I knew that was going to happen. Okay. We're going to go through this one, and this one, and this one. Kind of pull it as you go. And this one. Okay. And this one. I'm a big fan of abstract and not making things perfect. So if you want perfect, it's probably not the video for you. I just like kind of boho abstract. Do whatever. Does it come out perfect, so what? So you kind of pull it where you go. Showing you on this one because it's a lot easier to do this. Oh, kitty. TT, go. Sorry. Kitty alert. TT, Mama's doing something. Okay, so now, like I said, we'll do like 2 or 3 rows. T. Here, go. There you go. Okay. Kitty alert. Okay. Snowing like crazy here and very cold. Oh. My ring's snag and everything, and of course. Gypsy, what are you doing? Gyps. Gypsy Gyps, what are you doing? Okay. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to do that, but that spool that it was on was way too big to go through the holes. So, of course, I made a mess. But anyways, you get the picture. I'm going around like this. all the way. And when it starts getting smaller, which will probably be the next row, then I'll go into that one. I'll skip this one. I'll go into that one. You know, that's how I'll go around. Okay, I got to get marked to untie my knot, and I'll be back. Okay. All right, so see how it's just kind of random. This is a little bit more, I don't know, straight. Okay, so I'm going to take a piece of the same color that I used on this one, and I'm going to put some beads on it, and then I'm just going to kind of go around these knots and just put some random beads here and there. Okay, so this is what we got so far, and I'll show you in a bit. Okay, so I added a tree to the center, and I strung beads, and I just wrapped it around like that. Okay, so that's what I did. Next, I'm going to do the things that hang down. So I'm going to do some more beads, some more of this ribbon, some other things. So I'll be back. Okay, so what I did was I tied some of that ribbon around the bottom of the hoop. And then I put some fringe. I hot glued some fringe. And then I hot glued some beaded fringe. I put some sequins on. I put an old piece of jewelry. I added some wood beads, just random all over the place on those. I finished up the beading. I put some sequins on this tree that I put in the center. I put some sequins on this little hanger here at the top. And I think that's about it. So there's our boho one. And I think it's kind of pretty. Okay, now we're going to get into the traditional one. I'll be back. Okay, so for the traditional one, what I'm going to start out with is I'm going to put some leather with some beads and feathers on the bottom. And I'll show you, I'm going to put the leather on and I'll show you with the beads and feathers. I'm going to put a tie at the top. And then I'm going to put some crystals around here. I think I'm going to put some fur around. I'm going to glue it. And I'm not sure what else I'm going to do. Probably put some horsetail in there. I may put that fox. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But anyways, I'm going to start doing this part where I take the leather strips and put the feathers and beads on it. Basically what I'm going to do is string some beads to hold these in place. I'll glue feathers and beads at the bottom of each one, and I'll do several of them in different lengths. Okay, and then I'll be back. Hello. Okay, so what I've done here is I put a gemstone in the center, and what do they call that? I forget. And then a crystal, and I put TT. No. Every time I put this table up, my cat thinks it's her play area. Oh, get down, Miss T. Get down. Okay, this is a bone arrow, and I put all different kinds of feathers. There's quail, and I can't remember them all. There's a rooster, turkey, quail, blue jay, duck, and down here is blue jay, rooster, duck, crow, turkey. Here's pheasant feathers. These black ones are rooster feathers. These are turkey feathers here. I put some bone feathers here, and I put some hematite and also opal beads along here. This is moonstone. Those are opals, the little ones. And then I put them all different kinds of beads up on here. And I put some I put some quail and some duck feathers there. Here I put some jade, some turquoise, and some sandalwood beads. And so there it is. And I put a little hanger up here with the leather. Okay, so this is our more traditional dream catcher, and then this is our hobo dream catcher. And I'll be making a few more. And I hope you like them. Okay, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye for now.